Hello, hi, welcome back. 1990, Internet was starting its revolution. 2004, Facebook was introduced by who? Mark Zuckerberg. Yes. 2007, Steve Jobs introduced iPhone. 2010, IBM launches a cool product called IBM Watson, which can process information like hundreds and thousand times efficient than a normal computer, and it's building on running on machine learning and artificial intelligence. But how is this all connected? Is there a connection between all this? Yes, it does. Let's talk about that in detail. In this video, we're going to review another interesting book, and the name of the book is The World is Flat. Are you serious? The world is flat? I didn't say that. Thomas L. Friedman says that the world is flat. He's a man. He's the one. Who's the author? Thomas L. Friedman is from the US. He was a journalist. He was doing a lot of documentary for Discovery and all these channels, but he became an author through this book. The world is flat. How he says the world is flat? Columbus confirmed long before that the world is not flat anymore. Before Columbus, Copernicus confirmed. Before that, Ar- Aryabhatta confirmed. So, how Thomas L. Friedman says the world is flat? Well, Columbus, Aryabhatta, Copernicus, they all said the world is round or spherical in terms of geography. But Thomas L. Friedman says the world is flat in terms of economy, in terms of globalization. Let's talk about that in detail. So, I told you about the author. He's from the US. Now, let's dive in detail about the content. And so, this is an economy book, or it's based upon, it's a business book. This is the first time I'm reviewing a business book. So, I took almost 1 month to read this book. Okay, because this is a first business book, or this is the first book about finance and economy. So, I took some time to digest all the information. Okay, so why the world is flat? What does he means by that? So author, when he comes to Bangalore for, he's a journalist, right? As I told you earlier, he came for interviewing Nandini Nilekani. I'm checking my notes here, okay? Nandini Nilekani from Infosys. He is the ex-CEO for Infosys. During his interview, Nandini Nilekani says a word, the field is actually in level. So during a conversation, he said that he's actually saying what we have in US. We have the same information here, and the author got stunned with that information, and he said, "Are you serious?" And then he went on research, and he found that there are a lot of information in India. There are a lot of outsourcing that's happening in India, and he found that okay. It's not the same world anymore. And he calls his wife and says, "Hey, honey, you know what? The world is flat, and I'm going to write a book about that." So that came as a book. So there are 10 elements or 10 factors which determines or confirms that the world is flat. And the first fact he talks about 11 in 9, which is Berlin when the ball, it's a wall. Sorry, I said Berlin Wall. It mixed came and ball. So Berlin Wall was broken in 11 in 9, and that's when Windows was coming. Windows was booming. All this was happening, and one side internet was booming. One side fiber cables were laid everywhere. US can connect to India. India can connect to China. All the whole world is getting connected through internet. These are all the factors that determines the world is actually flat. And he also talks about outsourcing. When someone says outsourcing, it's the product or any service that's given to another country to process the information and they get the service out of that. Why all the outsourcing is done in India? Why that is happening? Is it because of the cheap labors, or is it because of the knowledge that we have, the culture that we have? So that is all discussed in the outsourcing concept of this book. And he also talks about offshoring, where they move the complete company to a location. Say, for example, all the manufacturing companies are going to China. They produce the product there and take it back, ship it back to their country, and sell it throughout the world. And why this is happening only for China? You'll get to know that through this book. So those are all some of the concepts. So there are 10 flattens, 10 flattening elements determines that the world is flat. He also talked about four takeaways. There are four takeaways that I took where we can apply, where we can use it for our day-to-day life, or maybe we can process it in our job, or we can make use of something. So the four takeaways are he 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 has written this in a topic called the untouchables. So untouchables are the people who can never be outsourced, or people who has a lot of skill, who are specialized in a particular skill, and people like doctors or chefs or hotel management, who people who really want to be physically there. These are all the jobs that cannot be outsourced. And one important takeaway is you should be adaptable. You should be ready to learning every single technology, or you should be ready to learn new things. When you're ready to be updated, then your job or your company, anything could not be outsourced. That's the takeaway. And I recommend this book for anyone who wants to know about economy or wants to know more about 21st century, how the globalization happened and how it's happening, and especially for developing countries, because he talks more about developing countries and how the developing countries are making use of making advantage of internet. And he also talks about the developed countries, how they can get ready to tackle this information. So this is all discussed in detail. So think about it and read it. It's a very interesting book. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next week with another book review. Bye for now.